like I said, prior to coming to work for the Otherside Academy, I was working for a double-decker sightseeing bus company, the #1 bus company in the world, in San Francisco and Las Vegas, and living in Las Vegas. So I had that experience. I had something to fall back on. I said, hey, you know what? Let me do some research and see if there is a double-decker hop-on, hop-off bus service in Salt Lake City, and there isn't one currently. And so we're looking to launch SLC bus tours, hop-on, hop-off, in May of this year.
Today is Monday, Motivational Monday, and welcome to Conversations with me, David Ibarra. And today I have a very special guest, Moe Egan.
Yeah.
Moe,
absolutely.
welcome to our show, Moe.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here. Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to jump in and we're going to talk about Moe has really 3 hats he wears. The first hat is with the Otherside Village.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that project and what your role is within it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the Director of Recruitment for the Otherside Village. And the Otherside Village is for folks that have been chronically homeless, mental health, some ongoing drug addictions. We also want to help our displaced veterans as well. And we're building over 430 tiny cottage homes for this population.
Now tell me, recruitment, what does that mean?
Recruitment, so...
Who are you recruiting? Someone to live there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
So what that looks like is a lot of outreach activity. Mm-hmm. That's going out into, parks, homeless camps. Mm-hmm. I'm getting referrals from homeless advocates,
right?
Case managers, mom and dads, church members of the community that want to help out their loved ones, right?
Right.
And so basically the way it starts is they give me a call, and then I have a conversation with them to see if they first meet the criteria of being chronically homeless, which means we're expecting you to be at least homeless for 12 months over the last 3 years. That's what we're looking for at first. And most of the time, it's another co-occurring condition, disability, mental health, drug addiction, right? And so the elephant in the room is that the person has to be ready. We can offer the world, but if you're not ready, it's not going to work. I mean, sometimes parents drive up with their kid in the back of the station wagon and say, can you help our kid? Well, actually, no, because your kid has to be the one that reach out and say, hey, I need help. And if we find a person that's ready and they're looking to do something different in their lives, I'll just have a conversation with them, because basically what we want to start off doing is having a relationship and building a trust with that person first.
When you say ready, and I'm going to talk about something that I know the answer to, but I want the audience to understand it.
Absolutely.
Well, the person might be thinking, ready? Well, Moe, they're homeless. Of course they're ready. They need a home. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about here, is it, Moe?
It's not.
It has to do with, do you have a desire? A desire for what? Talk a little bit about that, what ready means.
Yeah, so the first thing is that a person has to be willing to make that commitment and make that investment in their lives. Sometimes we get people that, for whatever reason, they're just looking to get off the street for a couple days, maybe get a couple meals, maybe get a couple good night's sleeps, and then back off on a run again. And then there's a person that has just had enough, right? They're tired of being homeless, they're tired of being addicted to drugs, and they're tired of watching, the average citizen walk by enjoying the American dream. And so they have no idea what it looks like. They know they want a better life, but they have no idea of what it looks like. So we'll get in that conversation. And from there, if we decide, the both of us, that they want to move forward, what we'll do is we'll get a second interview. We'll have a coach do a second interview. all the time we're continuing that relationship. We're
Now, when you
continuing
say,
that trust.
Mo, when you say a coach, how what do you mean a coach?
Yeah.
A coach in what?
Yeah. So for us, a coach in terms of the Otherside Village and the Otherside Prep School, which is our homeless prep school, we'll talk about as well. A coach is a person with lived experience. This person has been a drug addict. This person has been involved in the judicial system, has been incarcerated, and been homeless, and at some point has overcome and got to the other side. Literally 5, 10, 15 years removed from that life. But somebody who can, have this conversation and understand what a person is going through that's struggling.
So in other words, a coach at the Otherside Village or Otherside Academy,
Yes.
It is folks that have experienced what the individual is going through themselves, as gained the desire to change that, did the work to change it, and then arrived on the other side. Hence, the Otherside Academy, the Otherside Village.
Yes,
Right.
And a lot of it is you want a person that understands what the underlying issues are that cause a person to be homeless, and a person to be a drug addict, and a person to, for whatever reason, not be able to experience the American dream. But what we do is we swim upstream a little bit, right? And so just a little bit about the current model that exists, right? And this is around the country, and this has been going on for a while. A person comes in to a service provider that provides resources. One of those resources is a housing voucher. Hey, you come in, you sign up, and you say, hey, I need housing. But you're also in the middle of your addiction. You may be wilding out, having some episodes, and need to be stabilized on your with your mental health. They give you a housing voucher, and you take that housing voucher into single resident occupancy hotel, SRO hotel, or an apartment, and everybody's thinking, okay, problem solved with this person, right?
They're off the street.
They're off the street. But what happens is, and I'll use myself for an example, I go into that new apartment with this housing voucher. I got crack, heroin, meth, and everything else in my pocket. And then a couple weeks later, everybody else that I know is in my apartment doing drugs. And then 2 months later, I'm evicted in the back of the line for services sponsored by taxpayers. That's the model that currently exists.
Now, you bring up something right there that I want us to talk about for our audience. One of the things about this program, the Otherside Academy, the Otherside Village, which I happen to be involved in and believe in,
absolutely,
to the tune of making some meaningful contributions.
Absolutely, and we absolutely appreciate that.
And bought one of the Otherside Village homes and donated it. And I don't give money to no nonprofit unless they can show me that they make a difference. You can have a good meaning.
Absolutely.
But this project you brought up, it's interesting because somebody experiencing addiction, for instance, isn't going to sit next to a psychologist, and this is not negative to a psychologist, but can't understand their needs if they haven't been in the same place.
Exactly.
So talking from a point of realism, and you mentioned your place. So, Mo, did you go through the academy?
At what age do you wish you had unlocked the principles that lead to success? Where do you think you'd be today if you had learned them as a child? Yes, Our Kids Can is a program developed at Harvard and tested in San Antonio's school systems, designed to give children of all backgrounds the opportunity to plant the seeds for future success, using learning techniques they understand and enjoy. Through engaging animated stories, fun sing-along songs, and interactive games, Yes, Our Kids Can teaches your child the empowering, success-driven principles needed to reach their full potential. Don't miss this opportunity to give your children the future they deserve. Yes, Our Kids Can is available now on the Apple App Store and Google Play. Sign up today and help make your child's dreams a reality.
So the Otherside Academy and the Otherside Village is a replication of a place that saved my life. It's called Delancey Street. Delancey Street started back in 1971, right? And prior to that, I was homeless for 10 years in the Tenderloin District in San Francisco, right? And I had gone through all kinds of 30, 60, 90-day programs and graduated from each one of them. And at the end, I can always feel this gut feeling that, Mo, you're going to relapse. You're going to fail. And that's exactly what happened, because I had no training. After getting those housing vouchers and after, getting a place, I had no training. Nobody taught me how to keep the job and how to keep the employment. I had no idea.
It's interesting. The Delancey Street, the Otherside Academy, it is a program that talks about reprogramming your subconscious.
Yes.
That if you're going to be honest, you got to act honest for hundreds and hundreds of days until you become honest. If you're going to be accountable, you got to act accountable for hundreds and hundreds of days until you are. And the students within are responsible to help keep everyone on course to living that accountability and honesty.
Yeah, I remember, on my last arrest, and somebody had told me about Delancey Street before, but in my mind, I was just stuck on the 30, 60, 90-day programs. And they say, well, it's a 2-year program. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't sit down for 2 minutes, let alone 2 years. But in jail, facing new charges, there was some leverage there. And I remembered in the back of my mind, hey, Delancey Street. And so I wrote a letter. They came and interviewed me and accepted me. And when I got to Delancey Street, I knew right away, this is something different, because right away they expected something from me. And then there were some folks that I used to run the streets with, do drugs, crime, and all the riffraff with. And when I got to Delancey Street, they were already there at Delancey Street. They were there for 2-3 years. They were now mentors and leaders in the community. And I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, if they could do it, I can do it. And that's exactly what happened. They stepped to me and said, hey, Mo, you don't have to be a drug addict anymore. You don't have to get arrested anymore. This is your shot right here. And they pretty much grabbed my hand and walked me through it. But it was a lot of work.
Sure.
It was about behavior changes. We didn't sit there and talk about all the crimes, all the drugs, all the women, and all the riffraff we did. We didn't even talk about drugs and alcohol, because this was about changing my habit loop. This is about a habit change right here. This is about saying, hey, here's where I'm at right now. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to start to separate. I'm going to start to create a new life. Dignity of work.
Whatever you think, whatever you seed into your subconscious mind, it will occur, because your subconscious mind does not know the difference between right and wrong. It only knows the command the conscious mind gives.
Absolutely.
So is that where you met Dave DeRocher?
So after I graduated from Delancey Street, right, I was pretty much living my life. I had the culture down, and I continued to work and have friends of people that were in that community. So I stayed close to the community. At that time, I was running a double-decker hop-on, hop-off sightseeing bus company in San Francisco and Las Vegas, but living in Las Vegas. And at that time, I was involved with a couple organizations in Las Vegas trying to do something similar to Delancey Street. I was way off the mark. But then one of my mentors at Delancey Street mentioned that there was a replication going on in Salt Lake City, Utah. And that's how Dave and I got connected.
Oh, I see.
And then that's when I also met the founder of the Otherside Academy, Joseph Grinney. And I actually met Joseph Grinney at the airport, right? I was flying into Salt Lake City. He was flying out. And then the director, executive director, Dave DeRocher, who's also a graduate of Delancey Street, had some folks pick me up, and I stayed for a couple of days, and I said, you know what? This model and this replication is spot on. And so, I packed up Las Vegas and moved to Salt Lake City in 2016.
Well, perfect. We're going to come back to that double-deck experience that you had in Las Vegas, but I want to touch a little bit more about the Otherside Village. Now, there are those in our community that will say, hell no, not in my neighborhood. You are not putting 430 tiny homes with addicts living in them and destroy my neighborhood. What do you say about somebody who would say that? And why is it not going to be the case?
Yeah. First of all, I can understand where they're coming from, because their past experiences has been that these homeless shelters, whatever, have been in their communities, and they have seen an increase in folks loitering in the streets. They've seen an increase of people committing crimes in those areas. So their concern is legitimate, absolutely. So with the Otherside Village, we're not just going to move a whole bunch of addicts and criminals and people that are unstable with their mental health into the community, right? What we do is we swim upstream a little bit for, because we think that would be a little bit irresponsible. And so what we've done, we've created a homeless prep school.
Yes. Tell me more about that.
The homeless prep school is an opportunity for a person to kind of recalibrate their compass, right? And so let's just say I interview somebody that's homeless and they're in active addiction. That's fine. We fully expect that. Or somebody who's wilding out, maybe having some episodes and needs to get stabilized on their medication. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get you detox. And trust me, detox, it absolutely works, right? I've seen people that I've taken to detox. I've seen people that I've gone to interview in detox. You see their face clear up. You see their thinking start to clear up. And they're starting to think, you know what? I feel like the American dream is back on the table, right? What happens when they get clean and they start thinking right? They leave the detox and go right back to toxic relationship, drug-infested apartment, or back homeless, right? And start the addiction all over again. We've just squandered our resources because we had an opportunity to help this person. And so we have a person right now that I've helped get into detox, and we're going to walk them through that process as well. So once they get detox, we want to get you into our homeless prep school, right? Because when I'm interviewing folks, a lot of them are saying, hey, Mo, I just need a job, right? I just need housing, right? I understand the housing first, right? It's a piece of it. But we're coming from a human first approach, right? Which says that after I have this conversation with this person and we get into it, turns out you've had plenty of jobs. You've had plenty of housing. How do you keep it and how do you maintain it? That's what we're concerned about. That's our offer. That's what we want to help you with. Right. And so we introduce you to the Otherside Prep School, our homeless prep school, and we assign you a coach. If it's your finances you need to get in order, if it's your health you need to get in order, if it's being able to maintain and manage my medications that you need to get in order, let's do that. If I'm a liar, if I'm a cheater, if I'm all of those things, we're going to hook you up with a coach, and you're going to set up a growth plan. And with your coach, you're going to say, hey, you know what? Let's get a list of the things, some of the things that you've missed over the years that you haven't paid attention to, right? That's kept the American dream off the table for you. And let's start chipping away at that. Right. And your coach is going to hold your hand. Our coaches actually live 24/7 at our homeless prep school, right? And they're going to walk you through and help you each step of the way, right?
Where is the homeless prep school?
So our homeless prep school right now is in Murray. It's our temporary location.
Okay.
And we will be building another location that's going to help us to help a larger population of people. So we're looking to break ground on that here in the next week or two. Okay.
Oh, perfect. So the prep school, to summarize, is to help people relearn or learn what it means to be a member of a community.
Absolutely.
The responsibilities that go with being a member of a community.
Absolutely.
Therefore, the Otherside Village will not be an eyesore to the community in which it's location. It will be a beacon of the way it used to be, where neighbors cared about neighbors. There was communication and interaction, and there's gathering points, there's businesses within.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So before a person even gets to the Otherside Village, tiny cottage homes, they're going to be in the homeless prep school, right? And they're going to go through a process. This is not based on the amount of time you've been there. Like, you can't say, oh, I've been here for 30 days or 60 days. Can I now go from a freshman to a sophomore? No, this is based on your ability to make behavioral changes, right? Because those are the underlying issues, right, that we have to address that cause a person to be homeless and it cause a person to be an addict. So you may get to a point where you say, you know what, I've got a grip on my medications. My health is getting better. I'm able to communicate. I'm able to accept feedback. I'm able to now participate and give feedback to the community, because our success is built on community as therapy. And so a person has to be able to reflect, has to be able to communicate within this group. And so they'll go through a freshman, sophomore, junior stage, right? And then they'll get to a point and they say, you know what, I want a petition to go from sophomore to junior, right? I've made some of these behavioral changes, and it won't be the coaches or the staff that moves them forward. It'll be their peers, the people in the community that know them, that see them every day and can see the progress they've made and say, yes, absolutely. We think you should go from sophomore to junior, or we think you should now graduate and move into the Otherside Village, tiny cottage home. So by the time a person gets from the homeless prep school to the village, we've taught them, here's what it takes to keep your place. Here's what it takes to be a decent person in the community. Here's what it takes to now become a leader and a mentor in the community.
Wow. What a great program. I'll tell you that when Joseph Grenny shared with me the vision for the Otherside Village, and I asked him, well, how are you going to fund it? And he explained that it's going to be pretty much self-funded. And I said, well, how can I help? And he said, well, buy a home and donate it fully furnished, which I did. And I'm proud to say that my home bears the name Live Ready Manor, after my book, Live Ready.
Absolutely.
And it makes, I went and visited it last week. I ran into you there, of course. And I tell you what, it does your heart good seeing the people involved, listening to the folks talk, and the change in their walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is very cool.
Yeah.
Let's shift and talk about the other two hats, Moe, that you wear. Yeah. Tell me about your entrepreneurial endeavors. There's two, I believe.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is something that I've learned from the model, from our leaders, my mentors. You know, Dave DeRocher, Tim Stay, and Joseph Grenny have created an atmosphere of entrepreneurship. Right. No longer can we give stuff away free. Right. And giving away free stuff is just not received the same way it is when you give a person that dignity of work, right? I screwed my life up, right? I should be involved in getting my life back on track. And one of the things we use is that entrepreneur spirit, right? And so I've been, you know, fully immersed in it as well, because it's a culture, it's a way of life for this model. And so I've taken that same spirit, and I started a food walking tour in 2019 called Local Food Walking Tours. And it is in Salt Lake City, and it's in Park City. Basically, you know, folks and foodies from around the country and around the world will go online and they'll book a food walking tour. I'll meet them downtown, and we'll do a little introduction, and we'll talk about the culture and the history, the economy, the LDS Church, the Mormon culture here. I've taught myself to, you know, learn everything Utah. And so we'll go to a restaurant, we'll do a food tasting, maybe sit down for about 20 or 30 minutes or so, and then we'll walk to the next spot. In between walking, we'll continue talking about the culture and the history and the tidbits and why Utah is, you know, tops in the economy, the quality of life, why it's number one in giving and volunteerism. And so that's one of my businesses.
Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was out at a restaurant, and I look over to the corner, and there you were with all your group. You had about 20 people on tour.
Absolutely.
It was very cool to watch. And as you walked through the streets, you're pointing out the history of a building, what goes on in Salt Lake City. What a great tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Utah's a great place.
So how do people find you for that?
Localfoodwalkingtours.com.
Okay, localfoodwalkingtours.com. Now, as I understand, you have a new endeavor that is just on the launching pad.
Absolutely. So I credit this to our model, of, being self-sustaining, creating entrepreneurial businesses to, help you be self-sustaining. And while I was at Delancey Street, which we are a replication of, we had an opportunity to get our commercial driver's license, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so I had opportunity to get my commercial driver's license, which I later used to become a tour bus driver and do my own commentary. The other thing, the other social enterprise we had there was we had a cafe and a restaurant. And while I was at Delancey Street getting my life together, I worked as a pastry chef and a rotisserie chef in the restaurant. Mm-hmm. So I kind of had the tourism and the culinary background as well. And so, like I said, prior to coming to work for the Otherside Academy, I was working for a double-decker sightseeing bus company, the number one bus company in the world, in San Francisco and Las Vegas, and living in Las Vegas. So I had that experience. I had something to fall back on. I said, hey, you know what? Let me do some research and see if there is a double-decker hop-on, hop-off bus service in Salt Lake City, and there isn't one currently. And so we're looking to launch SLC bus tours, hop-on, hop-off, in May of this year.
Perfect. Well, that'll be fun. When you do that, give me a call. I'd like to be on the first
We'll get you
tour.
on there. Absolutely.
Well, perfect, Mo. I tell you, you are a great example of a good life, Mo.
Yeah.
And, we all have our ups, we all have our downs, but it's what you do to correct them. And
Absolutely.
you've done a lot. And now you have been in this new life, entrepreneur, a leader of people. For how long? How long have you been the kind of individual that you wanted to be and maybe weren't before?
Yeah, so it's going on 18 years.
18 years.
Right now, and, early on, I've made so many different attempts to try and get my life back on track. And I used to go to different groups, and I used to hear people say, oh, I'm 5 years clean, I'm 10 years, I'm 20, I'm 40 years. I was like, how does a person ever get that, And, finally I got there, but it's been a long, road. I started in fourth grade. One of my uncle's gifts to me was in fourth grade, he taught me how to roll weed, smoke weed, and sell weed. And that's exactly what I did at Webster Elementary in East Oakland.
Wow.
But the thing about that is I'm selling weed in fourth grade, which means the kids are buying it in fourth grade.
Right.
Just a terrible situation, right? And I ended up getting caught in the boys' bathroom, and I got sent home. And thought I would be in trouble. I walked through the doors. There was no reprimand.
Wow.
Right? And so I processed that and said, you know what? I'm going to be able to do whatever it is I want to do in life. And it's not a secret that it led me to some places I wouldn't wish on anybody. Life term, drug addict, criminal, but through this model, this culture of peer-to-peer accountability is what saved my life. And I've seen its success, and I know it works, and it gives us an opportunity to help people get to the other side. So I'm really proud to be a part of the Otherside Foundation, the Otherside Village.
As you should be. You're a good coach. You're a good guy.
Yeah.
And you're a good friend of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just got the best mentors and the leaders of this organization, right? It's not something that they come and be a part of periodically. This is something that they're hands-on with every day, and I think that's part of the success of our organization.
Well, no doubt about it. Well, Mo, as a gift for being on our show, I want to
nice.
give you a copy of my new book, Live Ready, Beyond Think and Grow Rich.
Nice.
And again, thank you, and that concludes our conversation.
Yeah.
Today.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it, buddy. Absolutely.